the other round 2 game 1 from yesterday, and this one was not close at the end like the Grizzlies and Warriors. It was Giannis and the Bucks dominating the Celtics from start to finish.
So gather around, boys and girls. Let me tell you an old NBA fable about the best player in the league. His name is the Greek Freak. See, I know everybody gets enamored sometimes with the marksmanship like a Kevin Durant, or the championship pedigree and the longevity and greatness that is LeBron James, and up-and-coming players like Luka and the Joker and Embiid, so many great players. But when I watch Giannis play against those guys, and Jason Tatum is the person I'm referring to right now, it reminds me how much Giannis is on a whole nother level than everybody else. He's playing against the guys that certain people are saying that are better than him. Are y'all watching the game? He played against Kevin Durant last year in the playoffs. Y'all know that, right? He's playing against Jason Tatum in this year's playoffs. And the one thing about Giannis is in all phases, Jacoby, he's improved free throw shooter, and improved mid-range. You see Giannis pulling up for the mid-range?
And the
you see him dribble
playmaking,
up, pull up for the mid-range?
The playmaking.
Like no big deal. You see how triple-double? What about how he passing it in transition, kicking it to body port his left corner for 3? And how about creating for himself? The up and under, the footwork, throwing it off the backboard. He making players like Pat Connaughton productive. Bobby Portis play above themselves. Like, that's the same side double. The reason why they slump down like that, because he can make that shot now. That's why they're dropping down. He can make that and don't put a small guy on him and try to get the real. You remember when Grant Williams was guarding KD last series? You remember that?
Yep.
You remember that? And like,
Yep.
and it was a physical difference. Did you see that yesterday?
There was a physical difference, but it went the other way. It was Giannis just being more dominant, stronger, longer than everybody the Celtics threw in front of him.
And also, here's a contrast of styles. We teaching today. I feel good when it's playoff time, baby. So when it's Steph unlimited range and it's Ja points in the paint, the eye test for the casual fan can underestimate the 2 pit bulls that play point guard for these 2 teams. And they impact the game the exact same way the first 2 guys I mentioned, but defensively. They basically had the same defensive stats this season. I don't know if you realize that. And when one of those guys gives you offense, it's a game changer. And yesterday, while Marcus Smart was hobbled, that player was Drew Holiday. And as my brother Styles P of the Locks would say, Holiday. They was locking down. They was swarming. And so Drew Holiday is a lead catalyst for that, along with Giannis. And so I admit, I was wrong. Dead wrong. I got caught up in the hype. And you know what? Malika Andrew just brought me down to earth yesterday doing countdown. Shout out to my brother Stephen A. and Will Bond, working with them, and Michael Eaves and the crew this weekend, Shanae, Richard Jefferson. She made sure she told me, I watch your show, and you ride for Giannis.
Yep. You
more
picked
than
the Bucks
anybody
all season long, and then you're going to switch up in the
like,
ninth inning, Mr. Rose.
How can you get caught up in the hype when you see KD? She said, first off, you was the person that said don't break up Tatum and Brown. How when you see KD, you gonna get scared and switch? How when you see Giannis, that's your man. I see you in Milwaukee. That's your man. So again, all praise to the Milwaukee Bucks, and I want to put a bow on this by saying one thing. Darvin Ham deserves to be a head coach next season. Like, you see what's happening with Monty had done it already, but like the younger, like Ime and Willie Green, they're following the footsteps of the Ty Lues of the former players who seem to have their fingerprints all over their teams and are able to not only get them to play above the X's and O's, but also be able to challenge them. Like Ime Udoka, when you watch how he interacts with the Celtics, or Darvin Ham as an associate head coach with the Bucks, it's different from how Steve Nash can interact with Kyrie and KD. You see what I'm saying? Those dudes are gonna allow them to coach them. And so when you got a guy like that in Darvin Ham and you see how the roster has continued to develop, I anticipate he's gonna be a head coach, deservedly so next year.
Teams right now knocking down big shots. And what a game one to this series. These teams throwing haymakers at each other here in the fourth. And the Warriors back up by one. 3.6 remaining. Morant on the drive, scoop layup, no good. It's over. Golden State holds on and wins game one. What a thriller here in Memphis.
Jalen Rose, I am David Jacoby. We are Jalen and Jacoby. What is it that we do?
What they want.
Round 2 of the NBA playoffs is here, and we are here to break it down. We start in Memphis, where the Grizzlies hosted the Warriors in an amazing back-and-forth contest. These two teams just trading body blow after body blow at the end of the game. Ja Morant had a couple chances to put the Grizzlies ahead, perhaps for good, and this one in particular with the left hand was off and gave the Warriors game 1 in Memphis.
And a contrast of styles entering this series, because the Golden State Warriors, led by their Splash Brothers and now adding Jordan Poole into the mix, have unlimited range, and their offensive wizardry, in particular from 3, has just been unmatched. And then you had the Memphis Grizzlies, who are going to do all of the dirty work statistics. Offensive rebounds, fast break points, points in the paint. So it's a contrast of styles and wills. And a young and up-and-coming team, as you mentioned, versus a seasoned veteran team. Mm-hmm. And those storylines literally played out throughout this game. As they dared Ja to shoot the 3 early, he did, and then he got going. They did a terrific job of defending Bane the entire game. And then the benches came in. Melton played well for Memphis. And then Jordan Poole was just a revelation, shooting them back in the game. Like, that's literally what he did. And the elephant in the room was the Draymond Green ejection. And so as that play took place, Jacoby, when you really look at it, he did whack him across the face and the head. He did try to grab his jersey to not make him fall so intense. So for me, I felt like, in particular during a playoff game, that should be a flagrant 1. I clearly respect the job the officials do. Almost like a center in football, you really don't say their name until they make a mistake. But what ends up happening is there are judgment calls in all of sports, in particular in the NBA. Let me teach you some. First quarter calls, fourth quarter calls, rookie calls, vet calls, block charge, over the back, reach in, and here's the one, travel. And so a lot of times the officials are paying attention to everything that is happening like a computer. That's why it's 3 of them out there, and then you have officiators at the desk, and you also have Secaucus watching. And so they know what's happening time and place with every single person. So if I'm standing next to Reggie Miller and it's a playoff game and we both reach in and they know that it's gonna put him in foul trouble, he marquee, I'm gonna get the foul. But that's a part of the game. So therefore, you're supposed to be looking for reasons to keep Draymond in the game, not the opposite. And that's what I felt took place. And it doesn't minimize the hit on Brandon Clark, but it does highlight the fact that things should and will be called different when it's playoff time.
That absolutely should have been a flagrant 1 and not a flagrant 2. I was shocked when I watched them announce that he was leaving the game. But what did you think about his response? The way that he was hyping up the crowd and running around and bouncing around and giving everybody a pound? What do you think about the way Draymond handled it?
I mean, he from the mitten. He represents Saginaw pride. And I know he was angry, and I know he was hurt. Because you got to remember, the Golden State Warriors could have another championship if Draymond Green didn't get ejected with his altercation with LeBron James. His interaction with LeBron James during that play.